What's going on, everyone, and welcome to this video where I am going to help you complete the Sanctum of Rebirth on normal mode. We're going to cover all three bosses and their mechanics, some tips and tricks to help you along the way. I originally wasn't going to make this video, which is why I put a post out on the channel, but from what I can see from clan chat and other people's streams and other comments, it looks like people could do with a little bit of help when it comes to the little things that can absolutely make or break the fight. So let's get into it. Now, to start things off, when it comes to the setup, I want you to bring whichever combat style you are most comfortable with and you have the highest tier in. I would recommend nothing less than tier 90, but do not go lower than tier 80. It's no joke. This place is difficult, and I strongly advise that you bring some patience along with you as well, just because it will take a little bit of getting used to. So on the screen now, you can see an arena of the very first boss of the Sanctum of Rebirth. So the first boss is primarily negotiating basic mechanics for the entire fight. There are scarabs, there are blue lights that prompt you when the next attack is coming, there are ice crystals, there are heavy hit mechanics that are going to come in from the air and hit you. These are all things that follow into the next two boss fights. So it's important to get the idea down, although they are less punishing in the first fight. So we're going to run down a full kill of this boss right now. I'm going to go through a stop-start video so I can explain everything as clearly as I can. Okay, so here we are, everyone. Let me just quickly talk through the inventory at the bottom here. We have an overload, a super prayer renewal, a blessed flask, and an adrenaline renewal. If you guys can get something comparable to these four items, these are must-haves. You must have an overload, a way to regenerate your prayer, and a renewal for adrenaline, just in case you get caught with low adren and something big is about to happen. Food and Saradomin brews, I'm using green blubbers because they're less expensive, and Saradomin brews. But if you want to, do bring blue blubbers, whatever you think is going to help you get your kills. Remember, you're learning. You don't have to be masterful on your first attempt. Vulnerability bombs and potion of vitality, these are recommended but not necessary. Vulnerability bombs, of course, are flat damage increase. You can't go wrong. The quicker the fight, the less you have to endure the fight. It does add up. Potion of vitality is a panic button. If you think you're about to mess a mechanic up, or you're not sure what's going on, pop it. You've got double your health for like 6 seconds. It's going to help you out. Ignore the cramulet, the cat speak amulet, sorry, and the life aura refresh. I signed so many times today while learning this fight, so do not worry if you don't get it down straight away. But what I'm about to share with you is knowledge I didn't have when I was learning, obviously. So onto the inventory, we have the full tier 95 necromancy set. As I said, not needed. More damage means less time for the fight, but the mechanics don't change. If you learn how to deal with the mechanics, you'll be just fine. Tier 90 plus, as I say, is what I recommend. When it comes to your amulet, I would absolutely recommend an Amulet of Souls, a Reaper Necklace, or an Essence of Finality, which is combining both of them. Absolutely huge. And of course, your best weapons you can bring, tier 90 plus, is also recommended. The Erida's Grimoire is also not needed, but I would recommend that you bring a DPS book, whether it's this one in particular, or the Jazz book, Wen book, or Full book. Those three things will do you a huge favor as well, just to put out a little bit more damage, just to speed up the fight. Okay, so here we go. We're going to press play, and we're going to go through the fight. So, notice how where I'm standing right now, the boss fight has not started. So for Necromancy, if I stood over this side, over here, I would have to, my minions wouldn't come over with me, right? So they've made this intentional so that I can cross over, then start doing my potions, my summoning, all safe. The boss fight does not start until I move from this square. So if you do need to set up like I am now, this is the place to do it. Upon starting the fight, feel free to do as much damage as you want, but do not copy everything that I'm doing on screen, because I was a little bit careless by this point because I was getting impatient because I've been doing it for so long. So, the very first mechanic you will see is coming up right now. It's in the first phase, and it's always the same one. You will see this on your screen. Shards of Moonstone mark your feet, prepare to move. After 3 to 4 seconds of this message appearing, you need to move off the square you're standing on. So if you start moving straight away, too early. Make sure you move 3 to 4 seconds after this message prompt. I will also show you what this looks like once I've moved. There you go. You can see on the screen here this little square, this comes back to the blue markers I was telling you about. This is telling you where it is and when it's going to explode. So a little crystal pops up there. If you're standing under that, it will knock your prayer off and it will do some damage to you. As you can see, we've also just phased his health. So you'll then get this message on the screen. Vermax channels power from the Sanctum towards the west. Every single time I have done this fight, and I've done about 20 kills so far, it's always been to the west, even on hard mode. Over here is where you want to go. The very first time you head over to the west. The goal here is very, very simple. Do not panic. You will see these green flashing things, a bit like Veraclith in Dragonkin Laboratory. If you stand on these, you will see this message pop up. 1 of 3 souls redirected. You want to stand in all 3 of these. As you can see, once all 3 are done, the main boss comes out. The boss is always in the middle doorway. Now, do not worry if you do miss any of these green markers. It's not a problem. You will get an opportunity, you will get an opportunity to do it again. Do not panic. We're going to go through the rest of the mechanics as well, keeping in mind. So if you see them in a different order, you'll still know how to deal with them. You'll notice the moment I got the 3 souls, I dashed back to middle. That is because this blue wave here is about to do a large Dragon Breath attack, and I do not want to be standing inside that. So we're back in middle, and we're continuing our DPS. And we'll wait together for the next mechanic. Okay, so once again, the first mechanic is repeating itself. Shards of Moonstone mark your feet prepared to move. So, you guys know what to do. Wait a couple of seconds and then move your character. There you go again. Nice blue square, easily indicated. Pop, there it is. You know where it is. Now, I phased him again. So now I know he's going to head over to the opposite side of the arena. Always the same order, as I said. It's exactly the same system. We want to stand inside the green markers and collect the 3 souls. Or redirect, sorry, the 3 souls. So we're going to do this now. And we're going to head back to middle. Again, this guy on the right is going to do this big Dragon Breath attack. So make sure you're pretty quick once you've got your 3rd soul redirected to get back to middle. If these ice crystals get in your way, you can destroy them. But typically they do not become a problem. And we're just going to try and DPS him down. There are a few more mechanics that will show up, and I will talk you through them when they pop up. So, this is a big one. So, for this particular fight, it's not the end of the world because you have a green scarab. The green scarab is designed to heal the boss. However, it's good practice for you right now to learn to stun the scarab. You must stun the scarab in order to do damage to it. So, I will target him with a stun. And you will see stunning the corrupted scarab healer has made it susceptible to damage. You must stun the scarabs to do damage to them. Also, make sure you prioritize them every single time you can. Now that he's down, we can go back to DPSing the boss. Again, we had another ice crystal there. We just keep ourselves moving slightly. We're all good. And the boss is down. Now I'm going to move over to another clip so you can see the other mechanic that we didn't see here. Okay, so the final mechanic, this is on a hard mode clip, but it works exactly the same way. You will see Vermax fires a powerful bomb, ready yourself. This is a large, heavy hitting attack. This is where you want to pop things like Reflect, Potion of Vitality, Resonance. It's 2 or 3 hits. Do not worry, it won't kill you on normal mode as long as you pop Reflect or Resonance at least one of the hits. You will not die. Make sure you're nice and healthy and you'll be good to go. If you really do panic, Potion of Vitality and Reflect is always going to save your life. Barricade will also save your life. Resonance will also save your life. Many options for you to get out of this attack. Don't panic. Okay, and once you've got those few mechanics down, that's basically all there is to this first fight. I have done this fight even with magic and did a 4-minute kill. And I still didn't see any new mechanics. I did that deliberately just in case with Necromancy I was skipping things. So to take note for the first phase or the first boss, you must move out of the blue squares. They are indicating an attack coming. You must focus scarabs. If you see that a blue crystal is on its way, do step away a few seconds later. And if you see that he's preparing a big attack, get ready to use things like Resonance, Reflect, Barricade, and your Potion of Vitality. So here we are at the second boss, exactly the same setup. I'm not even using an aura. And again, the moment you drop down from the ledge, your safe spot is immediately in front of you. The boss will not start until you move at least one tile. So again, if you need to set up, this is the place to do it. Now, the moment you start the fight, after a couple of auto attacks, he will say darken. Now, when he says darken, it means he's going to do his AoE ability on the floor. Now, the very first one is not manipulable, but the rest of them are. So here you go. I'll show you what this looks like. There you go. So he'll choose a random assortment of squares, and all you need to do is step out of the way. Do feel free to use things like bladed dive, because that's very, very precise. Or sorry, dive or bladed dive, depending on what you have. Those are absolutely needed for this, by the way. Jagex posted that themselves. I'll leave that somewhere at the beginning so you can see that. But it's absolutely recommended that you have bladed dive. So we're going to step out of the way of the first one. Now that mechanic is out of the way, notice where I am standing. I am standing in this location for a very specific reason. I'll share that with you later. But this line along here, identical on this side as well. I will tell you why I'm standing here soon, but please do stand here ready for the mechanic when I talk about it. However, the next mechanic coming up, if you notice this yellow bar underneath the boss's health. This yellow bar, when it charges up, is prompting you when his next special attack is going to be used. As you can see, it is charging up and it's full. Now that it's full, I'm going to use anticipation, and this is to avoid a stun. Now, can you see underneath my health bar now a light blue line? This is charging all the way up. Once this charges up, it will try and stun me and lock me in an ice prison, very similar to Nex. However, this time round, an orb will start falling from the sky, like so. All you have to do is target any of the 4 crystals that are directly in front of you, break through it, and you can get through. Now, keep in mind, if you do not have to panic again. If you're struggling with DPS or you're panicking, you can resonate this hit. You can reflect it to reduce the amount of damage it does. You don't have to follow this to the T. This is just the correct way to deal with the mechanic. And we're back to fighting. As you can see, I'm still on this same line. So, now Kaya is exactly the same as the Darken. This means he's going to do his AoE move on the floor. However, because of where I'm standing, he is going to always place it around him in this way. So I'm going to walk forwards, and then he instantly does one at his own feet. So you can either bladed dive, surge, or escape the moment he finishes the first attack, for example, and I'm safe. And that is that mechanic. Now, he will always do that provided you're standing within this close proximity to the boss. Pardon me, to the boss. Now that he is phased, it's time for the relics on the north and south side. The south relic is always the one you deal with first. So I'll show you how I deal with that now. Focus the relic and make sure that you try and save some pretty hefty DPS for these. You have a fair amount of time. As you can see, I've managed to kill that, and it's only halfway charged. The longer it's charged, the more amount of health that the boss heals, okay? So you don't want the boss to heal too much. The quicker you kill this, you only have to kill one. The quicker you kill one, the less amount of health he regenerates. And we're back to the fight. Again, I'm standing back on my line so that I know what his next AoE attack on the floor is going to do. His next attack is coming out. Kiara. I'm going to walk forwards, even preemptively that time. And then I'm going to escape. And that's that mechanic dealt with. That will take you a little bit of getting used to, but it absolutely helps, trust me. Now, this is one of the most important mechanics that people miss because they're either very, very concentrated or they're panicking a little bit because they're trying to focus on everything. Notice when this altar, this summoning altar at the north side spits out these black lines. They will spawn a scarab, normally 2 scarabs to be precise. There you go. Again, same rule applies. You must stun them to damage them. However, they're very low health, 2000 health. Now, All I'm going to do is use my stun attack on each of them, and it's all done. As you can see, that mechanic is done, no problem. However, if I had missed them or left them alive too long, they will both hit me for about 5,000 damage when they explode, and it's typeless damage, so you can't protect against it. Very important that you do keep an eye out for them and keep your cool in the fight. Again, this is a very standard one. This actually catches me out quite often, but it doesn't do much damage. It's exactly the same idea. It's a single line that targets on you. Step out of the way, no problem. If it does hit you, I think it hits me here. Yeah, 895 damage. Not the end of the world. Do not worry. As you can see, we're about to reach the next phase of the attack. Now, each of these phase markers are the obelisks. So the first one was the first obelisk. The second one will be the north obelisk. Okay, so he's doing this mechanic first. We're going to step forward and escape. And there you have it. Every single... Let me just rewind that. Sorry, because I was talking during the thing. Every time he says this, Kaya, click underneath him. Because you can preemptively strike that mechanic. You're already dealing with it before it even starts. Click forward, escape, done. You don't have to do escape. As I say, you can dive, whatever you like. Now we're on to the next summoning obelisk. So again, we're going to try and nuke this as fast as we can. Again, you see, yes, I have good gear, but it wasn't even halfway, so you do have plenty of time to deal with that. And we're going to go back to our line. The next mechanic we're going to have is going to be an ice prism. So again, watch his bar. It's charged up all the way yellow. So what we're now going to do is either anticipate, or you can use freedom if you get caught out like I do here. And again, we're going to attack a ice crystal and step out, just like so. So you saw that time I wasn't even prepared for that one. Future me was more prepared than me in this video. But again, I still managed to make it out. Don't panic, you will be able to kill it. And again, we're going to step back on our line, and we're going to trickle our way through the rest of this fight. There are no more surprises, even on the last phase of this fight. Again, you see he's going to do the wave of magic attacks. It still caught me again, didn't do much damage. And we're just going to whittle him down. Let's see if there's anything else that happens here. No. Nothing else happening, and the boss is dead. Do not worry about the amount of time. The mechanics will only repeat themselves. Nothing new will happen to you if you have slower kills, I promise you. As you can see, so far I've used 2 slices of my green jellyfish. Now, it's important to note, everyone, that this final boss is no pushover. He's been causing a lot of issues for a lot of people. But I'm here to help you through it. So, we're going to cross over. Again, do not move from your tile, and you can do all your prep, all your potions, all your summoning of all your summons. For necromancy, you can do all your getting ready stuff on this post, provided that you don't move. Right, I'm about to start engaging on this fight. This fight, he does magic attacks and ranged attacks. I will show you what each of them look like. He will always start with magic. That is his magic attack, as you can see there. This round blue orb is going to be his magic attack. And we're just going to continue DPSing. Again, these lines that come across are telling you where the attack's going to be. So we're going to step out of the way. That now, every single time he does a special attack, which you'll notice again, before he does those lines across the floor, he's got a full yellow bar, meaning he's about to do something. Okay? This is your tell, this yellow bar. Tells you when something's going to happen. Now, once he's done a special attack, that's when his attacks will change. So he's been on magic to start with, so he'll be on ranged next. As you can see, those diamond lance looking things are ranged attacks, and we're going to continue our DPS. Now, this mechanic coming up is probably the one that's given people the most amount of issue. So you have 2 options to deal with this one. You can either resonance the hit, or you can use devotion and protect magic. Either of those 2 are the decision that you want to make, because you'll be entirely safe from the hit. So let me show you that now. He's about to do the attack. Prepare for death. I proc resonance. As you can see, I decided to use resonance this time. Prepare to be obliterated. It healed me for 800, whatever. I didn't really need the health. And that mechanic is dealt with. And again, just keep an eye on the yellow bar beneath the boss's health to tell you when something's going to happen next. The Sanctum is my control. Now again, this is probably the one that catches people out the most because they understand what to do, but it catches them out. Something to take note is if you bladed dive correctly out of the way of a square, the cooldown is reset. A bit like Kerapak and his diving mechanic. You can reset the cooldown of your dive, surge, and escape abilities. So I'm going to dodge out the way of that one. And I'm going to dodge out the way of that one just by walking out of the way. Even though my dive was off cooldown, I didn't need to use it. And we're back to the fight. Prepare for death. So once again, I've got resonance. So I'm going to resonance the hit again. It's just easier for me. And we're ready to go again. Waves of attacks coming across. And we've got more dodging going on here. Dives back off cooldown. Don't need to use it though. Ranged attacks. As I say, he always alternates after a special attack with his autos. And we've got these coming in again. Now, that is where the scarabs will spawn on the final boss. They always spawn at the back on the north side here. Again, the black scarab will blow up and do huge damage to you. The green scarab will heal the boss. So it's important again to stun them and focus them as quickly as you can. Try not to panic with the things that are appearing on the floor. That is what throws a lot of people off. They sort of go, oh, I've got to dodge this, I've got to dodge that, and I've got to deal with the scarab. Try and take everything as it comes. Look at the scarab, focus the scarab. If you need to surge over to it so that you dodge something on the floor, so be it. As you can see, I actually took my time there. I didn't need to rush the kills. I did actually mess up that time. And we're back to fighting the boss. So again, this time round, I'm actually going to be able to resonance a full heal this time when it comes to his big attack. As you will see here. Prepare for death. I'm going to resonance and have a look at the heal. Bang. All the way back up to full health. So my mistake has already been rectified. So now that you have a good idea of what the mechanics are, the next major mechanic comes in at 320k health. This is what is going to happen. He will summon these two dogs, if you will, or these two hounds. Your goal or objective is to kill them as quickly as you can. If you're in close proximity, they will do melee damage, so it's advised that you do that. And you'll also notice this new shape on the floor. So let's see how I deal with this so you get a good idea. I death mark him because I'm using necromancy, so I get a nice finisher move. You've still got things to dodge, but don't worry too much. Your prayer can be knocked off as well by the hound, so do keep an eye on that. As you can see, one is down already. And we're just going to do the exact same on the other side. I saved some strong moves to finish him with. He's going to get healed. So yes, the boss does heal them as well. But we're just going to continue trying to DPS him down, and there you go. That will take you a little bit of practice. You do need to make sure that you got some pretty chunky moves to finish them. Otherwise, they can survive a bit too long because the boss keeps trying to heal them. But you'll get it down eventually. I promise you, it's not too difficult. Just keep an eye on the things coming across the floor and your distance from the hounds. If you're in distance, use your melee prayer and make sure if it does fall off, you just reapply it. So once you kill both of them, he will say this. On the screen, he will say, I don't even know what he said there, but I'll suffer the full power of the Sanctum. So once you've killed both hounds, he will then summon you into a new realm, like so, and you'll be brought into this area. Now, the key things to note are, number one, this purple thing on the screen, let me just show you as I click it. This will summon these Shadow Sands felines. Once you kill these two Shadow Sands felines, three things will appear that you just have to click. Your main objective, of course, though, is killing them first. So I use things like Threads of Fate, but whatever combat style is your preferred that you are using, use whatever does good AoE to two targets that are close to you. So let me show you what happens once they die. They don't have a lot of health either, so don't worry. There you go. So now that they're dead, we have 3 flashing things on our screen, very similar to Raksha. You know, when you click the 3 shadows? Exactly the same thing. Your character doesn't move, you just have to left-click them. Now, before you left-click all 3 of them, take note of these 2 things on the screen. These will randomize each and every time you come in here. So, this is obviously a person with 3 light squares in this order. This one over here is another, like, humpback person. I don't really know the names. You can come up with your own names. Just familiarize yourself with these 2 images before you left-click these 3 souls. And I'll show you why. So once we've clicked all 3, I've taken note of what they are. And now we're back in the overworld. And as you can see, we're looking for the one that isn't one of the ones we just saw. So clearly, very quickly, I noticed that this one was not one of the ones we saw. So I'm going to bladed dive or dive over to this symbol here. And what that will give us is immunity to his big attack that comes up next. Now, you can technically use things like barricade and the burst of vitality to try and survive, but it does an awful lot of damage, so it could kill you anyway. So do be careful. I strongly advise that you check the hieroglyphics in the other realm and make sure you get on the right one in the overworld here. It's just too much damage to really comprehend. You don't really want to be dealing with it. You just want to manage it the right way. Might take a bit of practice though. Once that happens, on normal mode, he will get stunned. So this is your free time to do some free DPS without taking any damage. Things like Soul Split. I didn't use Split Soul. I probably should have done here. But again, it's not necessary. Just do as much damage as you can. As you can see, it's quite a significant damage phase here. And now he's going to do a big attack. So this is where your positioning, again, is key. You'll notice that I'm standing 1 square away from the yellow. As you can see here, it's the same on all corners. There's a yellow one on the edge of every single one. I'm standing 1 away from this yellow square. If you stood anywhere around him, it's 1 away. The reason being, as that comes out, right? As that comes out, I'm going to click on that square. As you see, that allows me to step over this one as this one goes off. And then I click straight back. The reason for that is because he does it twice. So I step back again, and we're done. That is the main mechanic that catches people out. So if you can get your timings right, maybe slow this clip down if you want, if it helps you. That's how I manage that mechanic. And now it's just DPS time. We're going to do the exact same rotation. He's doing his Prepare for Death now, which is his big attack. If you remember how to handle that, it's Resonance or Protect Magic with Devotion. So I opt for the Devotion and Protect Magic for that one. And now we're back to this. This is our Bladed Dive. We want to keep Bladed Dive out of these things. As you can see, I haven't even got mobile on my armor. It is advised to have mobile on your armor, but if you move out the way of those squares quick enough, your Bladed Dive will reset. That one almost got me, but we're good, we're good. The key is to try and keep your calm. Don't get me wrong, I still panic sometimes when I'm like, oh god, I'm in it, but... And again, we're back inside. We want to make sure that we're protecting melee the moment we get in. And we want to go over to the Soulstorm. That's all you're looking for to start with. Click the Soulstorm and start DPSing those creatures down, as that's the main time limit that you have. At the top here, it says souls devoured in 28.8 seconds. The consequence of you not getting out of this zone in that time is an instant kill. You just die. You're teleported out of the Sanctum of Rebirth. So, very important that you get the kills down. So here we go. Threads of Fate again I'm going to use. I'm going to kill them. I'm going to take note of the things at the back. So we've got the downward arrow and we've got the person sitting down or meditating here. So I'm going to take note of those before I click all 3. Click all 3. Go through to the next realm. And it definitely wasn't the dog. So I'm going to dive to the dog and then click on the boss. And we're immune to that attack, which gives us a nice, graceful time to do more damage. He's death marked, so he's almost dead. And there you have it. That is the final boss of the Sanctum of Rebirth on normal mode. This was not a guide. This is a walkthrough. So hopefully this helped you. If you would like an in-depth guide explaining everything a little bit slower, a bit clearer, with more recommendations, I can absolutely do that. Do let me know if you want something a bit more in detail than this. But hopefully this helped you. It's only day one, so get out there. Don't be scared, don't panic, and do your best. I guarantee you can do it. Trust me.